So the the question was asked. It was asked by Ketan Bhagat. He's an author himself, and he had asked this very interesting question: that why do so many spiritual people shave their head? It seems to be two extremes. Either you let it all grow out, or you shave it, and it's a very universal practice. That's the one thing that's common all over the world. So I thought actually this is very interesting because most people don't really know the answers. Most people really don't know the answers to this. The normal answer that is given is that, oh, that is to destroy ego, that is to create humility, the person is not invested in physical appearance, those kind of answers. Now, if you met any yogis, you know that humility is not the word that applies to them. Nor to me either. though in my case it is, I have no false humility, I actually have lots of humility. But it's not for ego and humility and looking silly, though I can say when I first started shaving my head, I didn't wear cap. I used to go out like that only. Children would always throw stones. Yeah. Even today I am sure they would do it. And this in Sanskrit literature is very, very ancient thing, that if you see the shaven head, people throw stones. Because in our culture, when do we do the mundan? When something very significant happens, but usually when somebody dies and we have to go to the funeral. So it is some sort of fear is associated with it, and they would always throw stones. It was universal. It did not matter where in India I was, they would throw stones. Then I started wearing the cap for that reason, and then there were other reasons why. I'll come to those other reasons as talk goes on. It's very interesting that this idea probably was started by the Buddhists and the Jains, and then the yogis took it over. But in Sanskrit drama, right up to the time of the invasion of the Muslims, that is the 12th century, in Sanskrit drama, the sign that something bad, some misfortune is going to happen is a Jain monk. If somebody saw a Jain monk approaching and, oh, there is a calamity going to happen. Shaven head, shaven head has come, there is a calamity going to happen. But later on the yogis, because yogis are above all else practical people, so if anything works, they will immediately take it on board. They won't let it go. So they discovered that this has very, very tremendous advantages. So then it became part of yoga also. But it's very interesting thing about the shaven head. So what happens is, yogis discovered, probably the Jains and the Buddhists discovered, maybe the Jains discovered because Mahavira, when he took renunciation, he pulled his hair out in 5 handfuls. And even today they do it. When they take the Diksha, they sit and they pull the hair out. And then there was the Ajivika, the Ajita Kesha Kambal, those kind of people. Unka initiation ceremony was to bury you up to your neck in the ground, and then the teacher would sit and one hair at a time he would pull it out. No, but I want to start that again. I want to start that again. Yeah. So anyway, it's just an interesting. But so that means that Ajivikas, Jain, Buddhist, yogis all knew the benefits of removing the hair. So the real reason why they do it, if you notice, in most of the ashrams and all, the senior swamis are full beards and hair, and जो शुरुआत की है या कुछ साल, they are shaven. But if you look at somebody like Ramana Maharishi, because he never took formal diksha and became swami, he is always, his hair and beard is the same size. No matter which year you are taking the picture, the hair and beard never grows beyond a certain size. Have you ever seen Ramana with full hair? Only when he is a young boy. Those pictures exist, but otherwise it is always Very close. The reason why is yogis discovered that every new moon and every full moon, the energies of the body naturally rise. And if you shave your head at that time, it gets a huge boost. So every Amavasya and every Purnima, they do the Mundan. So that is why Ramanas, he would never care, but they would do the Mundan every 14 days, which is why his beard and his was always the same, the same time. So they discovered this one thing. Now, that is the very obvious and the foundational reason, but there are more reasons. If you keep a shaven head, immediately those in yoga know what kind of sadhana you are doing, what kind of breathing you are doing, what kind of meditation you are doing, because your energy rises so powerfully that if it has hair acts as like a filter, hair acts like a insulation. Your energy rises so powerfully that you will short circuit if you have hair. The energy needs to. I know because I do that. I do that meditation and I do that breathing separately, other than the stuff that I am teaching you guys. So I know what it means. If I let my hair grow for a week, there is big trouble. So I need to. Ideally, I need to shave every day, but I am lazy, so I shave every other day. But ideally, I should shave every day. But if you look at a guy and you see that he is keeping the head shaven, then those on the path, those in spirituality, they understand, okay, what kind of practice, what kind of school, what kind of meditations, what kind of breathing. So do I need to learn from this person? Do I need to learn from somebody else? Because everything doesn't work for everybody. So if you're already in one kind of parampara, there is no point coming to the people with the shaven head. If you shave your head, most of these places, they ask for brahmacharya, for celibacy. If you shave your head, it becomes easier. So there is some connection directly that if you shave your head, then you don't get aroused so easily. There is some connection there. Now, of course, a lot of them say it is for humility and all that, but no, that's just public reason. It is not the real reason. And I don't see any reason to hide these things. Why hide? It's not any. Yeah, when you come to a certain level of Shakti and all that, then depending on the kind of processes you are doing, it helps if you don't cut the hair anymore, because then it creates a certain level of insulation. It helps to keep that. So the minute a person lets the hair grow out, you know that something has happened, and then they need to block that energy now. So they keep that energy from coming. So, but again, it depends, because nobody is greater than Ramana. If he would shave, then But it depends. It depends on what you are doing. Teachers very often they find the need to grow the beard, because the beard, if you have hair from here, it creates certain kind of vibration in the body. Now all this I have experimented, which is why I am saying, my beard comes till my navel if I let it grow out. Yeah, and it's a Malayali curly beard. In the early stages, it's an Aurangzeb beard. Yeah. When I would let my beard grow out, any time I would go into a shopping mall, they would check me, especially if I was in a kurta, because I look like. Yeah, let us leave that. So, if you let your beard grow out, then the internal energy goes in a certain way. If you let only your beard grow and shave your head, then the internal energy goes in a certain way. So I don't recommend that. So there are these multiple things that people can do. There are these multiple things that people can do. But it is completely tied up to the breathing and the meditation. See, because when we go to a temple, not in the north of India, because north of India has become so Islamicized, they don't even know it. When we go to a temple, we immediately take off whatever we have on our head. Because the purpose is, this chakra is where it is easiest for energy to come in. So when we do this, when we shave this, when we sit with shaven head on the Amavasya, on the Purnima, the energy can enter deeply. So that is the reason, the actual reason, and that is the reason why we take. Now, when you go to the other religions, they cover the head, but their places of worship are not energy structured. The way a temple is an energy structure. But if you look at Buddhist, Hindu, and Jain, that's because the stupa and the mandir are constructed in a way so that people can get energy input. Temples were constructed for people who had social responsibilities. They did not have the time to do sadhana. They would go and sit in the temple and they would get that whole boost as a 1 hour of kriya meditation they have done. But it's very difficult to make a temple like that. Most temples today are no longer, because the bhakti types, they don't do anything according to. But when we are going down south, you can see there will be temples where it will hit you. Especially because you all have been doing the kriya, it will hit you. The sheer influx of energy that comes from the main temple. It's difficult in this part of the country because all the temples are broken down, all the old temples are broken down. So that is the reason why the shaven head is so important. That is the reason why the head is left uncovered. But hair has certain other properties. Hair is very peculiar substance, because if you take hair and you take a steel wire the same thickness, the hair is actually stronger. So the ninjas used to have ropes made of human hair. Ajita Kesha Kambal, he had the kambal made of kesh, because he was protecting himself from certain external energy inputs, because people hated him and they were always doing black magic. He wore that hair blanket basically to stop the black magic. People like me, we wear turbans, we wear topis. I experimented with all kinds of topis until I found that the fedora is best, because there is a chakra above the head that needs protecting, and the turban protects it, and the fedora protects it. That is the reason why, it's not just stylishness, though that helps. But when I go out, I am very vulnerable. So either I need, have you noticed the Sufis, they wear that on the head and they tie it over here. There is a way of tying it, because there is a nadi here that they are activating. So these are all sort of knowledge that is not normally available. This is all that knowledge that is not. But that is why the head is covered. But when we go to the temple, we don't cover the head, because then we want the energy to come in. We want the energy to come in from that higher chakra, because the chakras are not just in the physical body, they are outside the body also. It's very, very vulnerable state. In the early days, I did not know, I got into trouble.
Why temples in South you are asked to remove your shirt?
Same reason. If your upper torso is, then all the major chakras you can get. Your clothes blocked.
And then in North India, like the Golden Temple, they ask you to cover the cover.
That's because the Golden Temple, if you look at it, it's a mosque. No? Very honestly, if you look at it, all of North India has become so completely Semitic, as they call. It's like a very Islamist thing there, and they are not really, in that sense. The Golden Temple is, even though it's called the Har Mandir, it's not a mandir by the Agama Shastras. Though they do a lot of japa and all that, it is not constructed so that it gives you the energy boost. It is not constructed so that as soon as you stand, there is a certain place in a temple to stand to get that. When we go down, I'll show you. You just can't go anywhere near the temple and get it. So there are certain visual clues that they tell you. Okay, now position yourself here, and then you become in the center of that grid. The Golden Temple is not constructed like that. But because of the amount of Sankirtan that they have done so much Sankirtan over there that now it vibrates and it pulses. But it's not an Agama Shastra, it's not a classically constructed temple in any sense. In fact, many Muslims actually mistake the Gurdwara for a mosque and turn up to do. Muslims from other countries, they actually mistake the Gurdwara for a mosque.
Yeah, because
it's the same.
Similar.
It's the same architecture. It's the same. See, Punjabis and Kashmiris do not know how much they do not have any Hindu tattva in them. The whole culture, the clothes, everything has become very, very Islamist. So that's a tragedy. But it used to be a problem, especially when they go down south and they are told uncover their head, and their immediate thing is put the dupatta, and they are told uncover it. What is going on? The same reason, you see, if you are doing certain kinds of sadhana, Ramana used to wear a langot because very serious senior person told him that, if you're new, then people won't come and they will harass you and ladies cannot come. So at least, so that is all he would wear. But actually he preferred to go in the altogether. Me too. Clothes are a big problem for me because of the kind of sadhana that I do. It's much better if I. So certain kinds of sadhana, the Naga sadhus, they wander. They cannot wear clothes because the kind of breathing that they are doing. But they grow out their hair. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
They grow out their hair. So there are multiple. It's a very peculiar permutation combination. And it's not like they don't wear clothes because most of the time they're covered in ash, which is like even better than clothes, in terms of how to cut out the. So there are these.
So in either cases, you are trying to say that when you grow the beard and the hair, also you conserve that energy. And
It depends on what sadhana you are doing, what kind of meditation, what kind of mantra, what kind of breathing. It's very, very complex. It's not there is no one size fits all. It's very, very complex. So if you are doing that kind of renunciate sadhana, then yes, you become like that. So it's a very, and also it depends on your parampara. If your parampara has for few years you are in this condition, then you shave. Then you let the hair grow out. When you become a Swami, you let the hair grow out. So all these are complicated. I'm not getting into all that because it's very, very individual. It has to be designed.
First part of what you said, one interview from a Tirupati trustee said it is wrong what they said. Your ego goes and everything. And Tirupati trustee mentioned it in BBC. Just what you say.
They all say that the ego goes. All I'm saying is those are pujaris. They are not yogis. Pujaris may have humility. I don't know, but yogis. Once that kundalini moves in them, they know what is inside them. There is no more humility after that. It's just a socially acceptable answer because people like to hear that you have not become special. I am so humble. I am so kind. I am so what compassion. Humility and compassion are two things that don't go anywhere near the yogi. For the yogi, that is your karma. Deal with it. One of Swami Vivekananda's brother disciples, Adbhutananda, he was one of the really kadak fellows, not very well known because fundamentally he was very kadak, very, very tough guy. And he once said, how many times the teacher will help you? How many times the master will? Once he will clear your mind. Once he will clear your vasana samaskaras, after that you have to make the effort. Bar you will keep coming over here. That's not the way it works. So they don't have. It's a false notion. The bhakti types have, but they really can't get rid of karma. That too. The bhakti types have, but it's a false notion that yogis are compassionate and yogis are humble. I don't think so. I have not yet met any real, authentic, powerful yogi. They are not compassionate. It's not like they are cruel, but they are like, this is your karma, you deal with it. Yeah, in some exceptional cases, they might take it onto themselves or deflect it somewhere. But most of the time, they're like, you have to deal with it sometime. Deal with it now, no? You have to deal with it sometime. Deal with it now. So it looks like they are being very hard. It looks like they are being very... And even Ramana, I don't know why I'm saying Ramana all the time because we are going there probably. Even Ramana once said, he says, people keep coming and saying, bless me, bless me. Saying, don't you realize that a person like me, my blessing can be only for good things, not for... that if I bless you, it cannot be for your selfish, greedy desires. So of course that's not the reason why people go, no, they go because they have इच्छा, हमारी इच्छा पूर्ण करवानी है, लाइक इच्छा से ही तो तुम इस मुसीबत में फंसे हो यार. So it's, but that's the actual reason. That's the actual reason why they, and see, even Christian monks, when they go into the monastery, they also shave this part of the head. They also, so it's just universal.
Even
It's
the Jews.
everybody. They know it. Everybody knows what happens once you're doing some kind of sadhana. What kind of grace, what kind of shakti descends. They all know it. You know, even the samurai used to
Yeah.
shave this.
For the
This
similar
they have the
reasons,
flag
these
from
Muslims
here.
must be wearing the topi.
They are wearing the topi for the same
For
reason,
similar
to
reasons.
protect the,
Protect
to protect the.
Samurais have their hair from here.
But either
इधर शेव है
इधर शेव है ना,
इधर से चोटी
इधर
चालू।
से, हाँ, और इधर से चोटी, वो जानबूझ के, because they know how to mix, because they were not using the ki, or that is their word for the prana, for spiritual reasons. They were using it to become more strong. तो वो जानबूझ के उन्होंने experiment करके they figured out कि इधर मुंडन करवा और इधर लंबा कर दो तो उसका फायदा होता है. So they were very smart guys. You know, they were very, very smart guys. The Japanese are always ahead of the rest of the world anyways. They're a different species of human only. You know, they seem to be one step ahead of us. But they understood it. The Chinese monks would do it. You know, everybody does it. Buddhists, Jains, all do it. Hindus do it. But it's simple. If you are doing certain kinds of breathing, if you are doing certain kinds of meditation, you can't keep it.
We're talking about the men folks in this. What about the
No,
women
it works
folks?
for the women also, but try convincing a woman to shave her head.
Tirupati, everybody is
South
like
South India, everybody does.
Why do, when they go to Tirupati, why do they say shave the head, do the danam, offer the hair? Because that murti and temple is constructed in such a way that if you go there with hair on your head, whatever it can give you, you won't receive. In the Aga, it is not made strictly by Agama Shastra. There is some much that is odd in that. In the first place, it seems to be a Harihara Murti. It's not even really a Balaji or Vishnu. It seems to be Shiva Krishna mix. So there is something very odd in that Murti, in the energy of the Murti. People can feel it. So if you have that insulating layer of hair, whatever you are supposed to get cannot come into you. So that is the reason why they insist ki mundan karo, and then people find if you do mundan over there. But you look at all the significant things. Babies, we do mundan at certain set times, because the change is happening at the cellular level, at the consciousness level. Now all these things were well understood at one time in our culture. All these things were very grand part of our culture. But then what happens? We get fragmented and we start developing humility.